Hi, this is Yoav Ezer for Excel Productivity Squared, and today I'd like to talk to you about saving time, specifically about how you can become more effective when working with Microsoft Excel. Now, there are hundreds of books and courses you can take which will teach you how to use Excel, but this is not one of them. In Excel Productivity Squared, you won't learn the new formulas or the Visual Basic syntax. We will, however, show you a set of work habits and techniques that have the potential to help you work faster with Excel, sometimes even much faster, enable you to increase your productivity by as much as 100%, and free up at least 10% of your time. Again, the premise of this training is that if you apply the techniques you learn, you'll become a great deal more effective with Excel, while actually reducing the amount of time you spend working with Excel. But before we begin, there are a couple of things I want to ask of you, so that you get the most out of this training. First, sit back and relax. Now, during the video, it is very important that you do not try to memorize anything. Just relax and listen. It is my job as the instructor to make sure that you remember and understand. All that I ask is that you relax and listen. Sounds good? Okay, so let's get to work. When we use the term productivity, we usually think of working faster and creating more products. This definition of productivity is best suited for factories where physical products are manufactured. Products like shoes, furniture, or donuts. But we work with Excel and don't exactly produce donuts or shoes or any other kind of physical product. So what does it mean to be more productive as an Excel user? Does it mean doing the same amount of work in less time? Well, the answer is yes and no. Because we don't only want to be more efficient, which means doing the same things in less time, we want to produce more. And to top that, efficiency doesn't look good. Why? Because we are often evaluated by the amount of time we put into our work, and not only by the results we deliver. So equating productivity with efficiency can lead to the conclusion that productivity is bad. Because if we become more productive, then it will seem as if we work less. Fortunately for us, this is not what being productive is about. Being productive is about creating more value for our workplace. Actually, it's about creating a lot more value for both our workplace and for ourselves. So let's see what this value is and how we go about producing more of it. This is best explained by an example. Consider this. If you spend an hour taking out the trash and cleaning your office, then you're at best creating a tiny bit of value for your company. On the other hand, if you spend the same hour making a sale or finding out that your company was wrongly billed for supplies, then that same hour would have created a lot more value. So, the first step of productivity thinking is understanding that not every hour produces the same value. You might be getting the same wages for every hour, but the value you create greatly depends on what you do during each hour. This might seem obvious, but when you'll see how you can use this insight to become much more productive, you'll be amazed. To do that, I want to show you how it impacted my work here at CogniView. The following example is not Excel related, but it will help you understand the underlying productivity technique, and then we will focus on applying this technique to Excel. Again, the first step is to map out the different activities you engage in during a day's work, and to put an hourly dollar value on each of those activities. My work can be divided into 3 types of activities. The first is general management tasks. This stuff doesn't produce a lot of value, but it has to be done. Things like meeting the insurance agent, signing checks, reading and answering emails, etc. My guess is that these general management tasks don't create more than $20 of value per hour. By the way, this is where most managers, including myself, spend the bulk of their time. The second part of my work involves sales and marketing. Activities I perform in these areas contribute a lot more value per hour to CogniView than general management activities. For instance, almost every time I talk to one of our bigger customers, I get an order for new licenses. Sometimes it's only worth a couple of $100, but occasionally we'll get an order worth tens of thousands of dollars. Sales and marketing activities contribute about $250 an hour to Cogniview's bottom line. But the biggest value contribution I can make is hiring and training new employees or creating new products. This is because both employees and products create value on their own. So, for example, if I spend 100 hours in order to create a new product, and sales for that product result in a net profit of $100,000, then each hour I put into creating that product was worth $1,000. Now that we know how much value each of my activity creates, we can calculate my overall contribution to Cogniview. As I mentioned, I spend most of my time doing paperwork and general management tasks. But because these activities create just $20 of value every hour, they only create $3,000 of value each month. And while I spend just 45 hours every month on marketing, sales, product creation, and workforce development, these hours represent the bulk of my contribution to the company's bottom line. So what would you do in my place? How would you increase the value I create for Cogniview? If you said spend less time on paperwork and more time on product development and sales, then you are beginning to master the art of productivity thinking. You see, becoming more productive is about finding ways to reduce the time we put into low-value activities and using that same time to perform high-value activities. Thing is, shifting just a little bit of time from low-value to high-value activities will have a dramatic impact on your productivity. For example, if I find a way to spend 10% less time on my low-value activities, I will have an extra 15 hours every month that I can invest in high-value activities. This means I will be creating a whopping $12,500 worth of new value. That's a 65% increase in productivity that was created because I was able to reduce the time I spent on low-value activities by just 10%. You have to agree that these numbers are impressive. And that's the second principle of productivity thinking. Small efficiency gains create huge productivity increases.